Let the music go. Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Dillard. With me, as always, number 3 in the tournament, but number 1 in my heart, Bailey Jackson. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm good. Always another strong intro, James. Way to go.
Hey, we have a great show. We're presenting an important top 10 list. I'm going to correct an important, semi-important mistake. We'll also catch up on all the important topics in sports, especially in Clemson. And if you haven't heard about our new high school show coming soon, you will. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of the Fanboys Fangirls Sports Podcasting Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and all other sports media at thefanboys.com and on all forms of social media. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans. And Clemson fans, we also love Reuben's. Reuben's Food, Sports, Spirits, and Catering, the best wings around, with 2 locations in upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont, South Carolina. Find them at ReubensC.com. Reuben's is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans.
That's right. And the Fun Fans Podcast is also brought to you now by Ivy O'Sullivan Healthcare Services. At Ivy O'Sullivan, they're not just chiropractors. They take care of you. James has been going there. James's family goes there. But since 1977 in downtown Spartanburg, they've been helping people with their backs, their soreness, their pain. And it's not just your typical chiropractor visit. It makes you nervous, you know. I used to go to a chiropractor and he'd just put you on his table and pop your back a couple times and out the door you went. But Ivy O'Sullivan is something you need to try. And if you mention the Fun Fans Podcast, they'll donate 100% of your initial evaluation to the charity of the month that they name. So give them a call at 864-583-3967, or you can go online and find them at ivyosullivan.com to feel better and function at your absolute best.
I love functioning at my absolute best. All right, speaking of functioning, here's what we're going to do. Another episode where this is the information about college football that you are only going to see and hear on the Fun Fans Podcast. We're going to give you the top 10 list, the top 10 fan experiences of week 1 and the reasoning. Okay. We're just going to jump straight into it. Let me grab my little clicker here. We're going to start with number 10. Clemson barely made the list. And the only reason Clemson made the list is
because it's Clemson and we're going to beat the number 1 team in the country.
And
it's going to be fun.
That's right. It'll be fun to get the opportunity to go down there and beat Georgia.
It's happening, James. It's happening.
Oh, I believe you.
Don't sleep on the Tigers.
All right.
Everybody's 0-0. That's what Coach used to say, right?
That is correct.
All right.
Fresh starts. All right. Lindenwood.
Yeah, so the Lindenwood Lions, did you know that Lindenwood is in their 3rd season of Division I football? This is the biggest school, or the biggest named school they've ever played, ever.
And they're playing, they're at Kansas. Okay.
So the biggest game prior to this was like South Dakota State or Illinois State. So this is a shout out to the Lindenwood Lions, a school in St. Louis, Missouri, traveling down to Kansas to play week 1.
So their fan base is looking forward to that game, and they made it number 9 on the Fun Fans Podcast. The biggest, most funnest fan base of week 1. Number 8, right here, local to myself in Greenville, Travelers Rest, South Carolina, the Furman Paladins, because they get the wonderful opportunity to go down and play Ole Miss. Whether they play, whether they win or not, we hear it's a wonderful tailgating experience.
Yeah, so they have the Grove, and they have if you're familiar on Instagram, Ole Miss's social media team is like the best.
They're good.
Okay, they come up with some good stuff, but evidently tailgating at Ole Miss in Oxford is outstanding. So go get them, Paladins.
All right, number 6 and 7 could be a tie because it's solely based on the potential travel. Number 7 at UCLA, their fan base, if they want to go see their team play, they get to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
So that can be pretty good. And number 6, New Hampshire, those fans, if they want to see their team play week 1, they have to travel to sunny Orlando, Florida, and take on the Knights of University of Central Florida. So, and see the thing about that first weekend, both of those games are Thursday night games. It's Labor Day weekend. It could make for a nice long vacation in Hawaii or Central Florida for those two fan bases. So,
all right. So if you had to choose one, which one are you choosing?
I mean, if I would choose Hawaii because I've never been. I've been to Orlando too many times. But definitely if I was UCLA, that's, Hawaii. I don't know. It's not like you're just jumping out there because it's a nice little flight, I'm still assuming.
Yeah.
But I would think it might be easier for New Hampshire fans to get to Orlando. The option to drive is still there.
Well, is it?
I mean,
because the drive from here to Orlando is awful. I can't imagine adding another 15 hours.
Yeah.
It
might take the fun out of it.
The fun fact for the fun fans. I asked a guy at Disney World in Orlando when I was down there one time with the cheer competition. I said, when is this place not stupid crowded? He said, right after Labor Day. So guess what? Perfect timing, New Hampshire.
Yeah, that might work out well.
Enjoy Disney World because everybody in America should be back in school by that Monday or Tuesday.
We went to Orlando during COVID and it was still crowded.
Yeah.
All right. So that gets us to the top 5. And speaking of the Clemson game, the Georgia Bulldog fans, they are coming in at number 5 for the biggest fun fan experience of opening weekend because playing in Atlanta is literally their home away from home. I don't know the demographics, don't know the statistics, but I would be willing to bet there's just as many Georgia fans that live just as close to the Mercedes-Benz, whatever they call it, as Athens. And then you think about they get it's like a home game and some air conditioning. So
yeah, well, that's the beauty of this thing is that it's not out in the heat.
Yeah.
But you know something, James? Probably one of the most critical plays in the Dabo Swinney era of Clemson football occurred in Atlanta. Do you know the play I'm referring to?
The 4th and 17.
Yes.
Was that right?
Taj Boyd to Nuke Hopkins across the middle.
Yeah.
It is the watershed moment. As an old history professor I used to have would say, it's the watershed moment for Clemson and Dabo Swinney football.
Tide's turned. The stock's still going up now. So yeah, the downside, of course, for the Bulldog fans will be when Clemson wins. But we're talking about the setup and the location and the time and everything.
Have fun before the game, girls and boys.
All right, coming in at number 4, the West Virginia Mountaineer fans. They are set to have a glorious time week 1 because they get to host Penn State. So week 1, you get to host a premier program.
Top 10.
Their fans are, with all due respect, I mean this in the most positive way, a little crazy anyway, right? And they like burning couches and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do they do if they win? They burn everybody's living room furniture.
Yeah. So getting ready for tailgating and preparing for the game against Penn State, their fans are going to be lit. So the West Virginia Mountaineer fans come in at number 4 for the most fun fan experience of week 1. Number 3, Texas A&M, the 11 players and the 12th man. The 12th man, similar scenario because they get to host Notre Dame. Now you tell me, I'm sure they played Notre Dame at some point in time. That is not a normal matchup.
No, it's not your typical home opener, but it's the Mike Elko era, former Duke coach, going back to Texas A&M where he was the defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
But they get to the Golden Domers, as I wrote in here, get to experience Kyle Field, which according to firsthand reports from people that have been there, said it's the upper deck they've ever seen in their life.
I've heard.
So, Notre Dame actually came to Clemson last year and took that loss.
They did. They took an L to the house.
So I'm going to pick this one. Texas A&M going to win this game.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, that will definitely make it they'll jump from number 3 to number 1 on the funnest experience of week 1. All right, this one's we have another tie. because to have an in-state rival game week one right off the bat, two teams that they're supposed to be, everybody's like they're supposed to be good, but let's show they have to show it. They haven't really, even going by last year and what they put together, a lot of question marks, I guess you could say, from the talking heads. But both the Miami fan base and the Florida fan base, like you say, as of right now, it's 0-0 and nothing but potential, and they're both supposed to be good. They get to go to the swamp and just slobber knock each other to death and see what happens. So that'll be in-state, kicking off the season with an in-state rivalry. I think that'll be great for both fan bases.
Even though it's a very long way from Miami to Gainesville, Florida.
This is true. But Miami is one of those places, too, that they have fans.
Welcome to Miami.
Basically all over the place. And the number one funnest, didn't get all my, can't get the verbiage down right on that, but the most top predicted fun for the particular fan base of week one, the LSU Tigers. And the reason is multiple reasons. Number one, hosting another big game. They're hosting the real USC, the Trojans. Okay. So they get to do that. It's Sunday night. They're the only game in town. They're the only game in the country. So they're going to get the entire spotlight for the Sunday night game. And you think, well, Sunday night, that's not going to be fun for fans. Oh, but it is, because the next day is Labor Day. So it's not even a school night.
Hey, and it's sponsored by Modelo.
Sponsored by with a lime, please.
Yeah, I'll have mine with a lime, please.
Yeah. So congratulations to LSU Tigers for making it to the number one predicted most fun this opening weekend. And I should have prefaced this list with every fan base is going to have a blast because it's kicking off the season. But these folks have that little extra that's going to make it just a little bit more fun, comparably speaking to other folks. And so we figured while we were on the subject of who's going to have who's set up to have the most fun, we might as well talk about somebody who's set up to not have, a lot of, right. It's not looking like a bunch of fun. And unfortunately for the Seminoles, that would be the Florida State University. Okay. So this is where I want to point out my error. We've been given a public service announcement on here for about the past month about how the 24th, which is next Saturday, is the last Saturday without college football. Well, little did I know, the NCAA, the ACC, Florida State, and Georgia Tech are taking their talents to Dublin, and on Saturday, August 24th, they're gonna go at it on the, they're gonna make a gridiron out of a soccer field probably, and there are actually 4 games this coming Saturday. This one's at noon. This is the only one that is between 2 Power 4 conference teams. There's only one other Power 4 conference team playing, and that's SMU, and they're new to the Power 4 conference, and so it's not like they're big games, and there's only 4. But I didn't even know there were games, so I apologize if you made big plans with the spouse. Then just have to do the best you can. You monitor and adjust, right, Bailey? That's right. As the saying goes. But getting back to if you're a Florida State fan, so they play this Saturday in Dublin, and then on week 1, so I guess that's week 0. Are we calling that week 0, like the high school folks? So that's week 0. And week 1, which is Labor Day, they get the Labor Day night game. So you think, well, that's great. They're playing BC. No, so they're not playing it's not a big matchup. It's some game they should win. They get the spotlight to themselves, but it's Monday night, so it's a school night. So Florida State, sorry. Your fans are like, how am I supposed to get to Dublin? What percentage of the fan base is going to go to Dublin? One.
I don't know. I'm sure some will.
Some will.
But I thought Notre Dame normally played in Ireland. Doesn't that make more sense? The Irish.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, but who would they play?
Well, and they had to do that like week 0, as we're calling it, because it's just the travel and all the logistics of the situation. They need to get that done before the season really started.
Well, okay. So my question is why? Why? I understand the NFL. They're trying to be a worldwide brand. They're playing games in, Europe and, Asia and Mexico City. But that's the NFL. Why would a college teams want to go across the big pond and play football? I don't know.
I don't really know. But since 1988, college football has been played in Dublin, Ireland. Did you know that?
They have?
The first NCAA sanctioned American college football game in Europe was the Emerald Isle Classic, played in 1988 between Boston College and Army. Notre Dame has established themselves as a permanent presence in Dublin. Georgia Tech and Florida State will play in Dublin to open college football season.
Well,
I guess it's just, I don't know why we need to attract more people, because it's not like people don't watch game day, and we don't need to sell jerseys in Ireland, but I guess whatever.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll probably be watching the game. Luckily, last week we talked about the time zones and how that could be a problem, but it's going to be 5 p.m. local over there when it's noon here, so that's not a thing. But anyway, Florida State fans, sorry, #not sorry really, but I don't really think you're starting the season off with a whole lot of setup to be a whole lot of fun. You should get 2 wins. They should be 2-0, but I mean,
and
come on.
Yeah, I mean it should be.
There'll be some. They'll get 3 opens, right? Everybody's getting 2 opens this year, and if they're playing week 0, they'll end up getting 3. That could be an advantage when it comes to playoff time. But anyway, there goes your fun. And Bailey, I guess you put on here about the New Mexico fans.
Yeah, so New Mexico fans, this is no fun because the kickoff temperature in Tucson, Arizona, Saturday, even at 7 o'clock local time, is supposed to be 100 degrees.
Yeah.
So have fun with that.
Yeah, that's not. But it's a dry heat.
Is New Mexico the Lobos, or is New Mexico State the Lobos?
I think
Hey, Siri.
Mexico. Yeah.
What's the New Mexico University logo or mascot?
Either one.
Hold, please. They are the Lobos, which is a Spanish word for wolf.
Hey, and they're one of my favorite looking uniforms. I like the silver and blue. I think it's good looking stuff.
That's
all right. So once again, things you'll only hear on the Fun Fan Podcast. Thanks to Bailey's research, we actually know more about college football over the big pond than anybody else. And you know what else we have more than anybody else?
I'm going to go with W Energy.
We got plenty of energy because we like W. Go to W.GG, enter promo code FUNFANS to get 10% off of your Jitterless energy drink. Okay, so football is literally right around the corner. FSU, Georgia Tech in 6 days. It's 6 days from today. All right. We can see another conference opponent play. So like I say, it's only 4 games, but it's still some games we can watch. SMU will be playing this Saturday as well. They're playing Nevada. I'm sorry, Nevada's the ones I think with the really cool uniforms.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's 13 days until we take on Georgia and Atlanta, and there's 20 days till our first tailgate. Jalen, we were talking about it today, and Jalen used the phrase, "I'm glad it's at 8 p.m. because it'll be cold." I'm like, Jalen? And she didn't really mean it. It just flowed from her mouth.
It will be cooler than it is at noon and 3:30.
It will hopefully not be 100 degrees. But anyway, I'm
going to tell you, last year's Charleston Southern game is the hottest I've ever been at a Clemson football game.
It's been kind of miserable.
I won't do it again.
All right. So that's coming. But once again, if we messed you up with the public service announcement, we apologize. If you made big plans for this Saturday, just throw in some flowers or something to make it up to your spouse. Speaking of doing something special, Reuben's is going to open at both locations, 11 a.m. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, when the Labor Day weekend Saturday, week 1, and they're trying to cater to college football fans. Okay, so get out there, enjoy the wings, enjoy the other food. There's great TVs all over the place, and this is at both locations, whether it's Powdersville or Greer. And if the one in Powdersville opens at 11 every Saturday, but if they get a good crowd, they're going to cater to basically when the Clemson kickoff is if they have to open early in the Greer location. The Greer location does not normally open till 3. You're gonna put your name in for some drawings. It'll go throughout the season. So go support those guys. They're trying to make it a good thing for college football fans. Okay. And we also, as we were looking at these games, we said this before. There's some really good games the whole season, but this first week, I'm looking forward to seeing North Carolina on Thursday night. I'll probably be watching North Carolina at Minnesota. Friday night, TCU at Stanford. That one comes on kind of late. Might watch the first half. Of course, Saturday, Clemson at Georgia. And then 3:30 is the Florida and Miami. And then the Notre Dame at Texas that night, I think, is 7:30. And then the previously mentioned Sunday and Monday night game. So it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. I assume, Bailey, that you're looking forward to the same. Those are the big games of the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, the Blue Eagles will be playing, so that's the biggest game. But that'll be on a Friday.
Friday night. That's right. That'll be a big game. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But, we're going to be looking forward to some Blue Eagle, volleyball and cheer and that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. All right. What about an O's update?
Half game back from the Yankees, 2-2 this weekend with the hated Red Sox. But on the way to New York right now to play the Mets for 3. So we'll see. It's getting to be crunch time. It's mid to late August and only another month and a half or so of the season, and then we'll be right in October. But it's great to be in this position.
It's a good time of year. You got college football, NFL going, and this is the time of year that I actually do start paying more attention to baseball. It's just such a long season. But I have been keeping up with the O's thanks to Bailey. So
that's right.
This is the huge announcement. If you have not heard, we announced this last week, but thanks to our partners at WSBN TV, Bailey and I are teaming up with those guys to bring sports fans across the upstate of South Carolina a brand new show, Southeast High School Highlights. We're going to partner with a handful of schools, and you see them on the screen. Greer Middle College Charter High School, home of the Blazers, the Spartanburg Vikings, the Clover Blue Eagles, as Bailey was just talking about, and the Landrum Cardinals, okay? And we are going to feature their non-football athletes and teams. WSBN is all about getting coverage and attention for athletes who do not normally get the spotlight from other media. So we are going to do something special for those kids and their families. So if you or someone affiliated with Clover, Spartanburg, Landrum, or GMC, share this info with them. We're hoping to we might slowly add another school or two as we get going. We want to kind of fill it out first to make sure we get going. But we might be looking for another school or two to add later on in the fall. But tell the folks to follow for now. Just follow the Fun Fans social media, follow WSBN's Facebook and Instagram, and they should be able to keep up with some information. And they'll be able to know when me and Bailey are going to start the show. The first show is going to be Wednesday, August 28th at 8 p.m., just like it says in the graphic right there. So that's going to be fun.
Yep.
I think
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So,
or if you know a cool story out there, it doesn't even really have to be at one of those schools right now. But if you have a cool story about a high school athlete, drop us a line.
Yeah, we can do that too. That's for sure. All right. Well, so hope you enjoyed the show. We'll get back with more talk of tailgate next week. It'll be interesting to see how the game in Ireland goes. We hope the FSU fans enjoy the start of the season, as much as they can. And either way, we look forward to the first kickoff. Real quick, before we go, we want to send our condolences to David Hazelhurst and his family. He is one of the 2 owners of Rubens, and he's my friend in contact through there. And he has lost his mom here recently. So prayers and sympathy go out to David and his family for his loss. But thanks again for checking us out each and every Sunday. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social media, and please share. Reach out to become a sponsor. On behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, Jay Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
That's right, James. Always go Tigers.
Go Tigers.